All right, so today's question is, how can a simple meal become a symbol of salvation? We're in Exodus chapter 12, and it's one of the most important chapters in the whole book. This is the night God sets his people free, and he teaches them how to never forget. Verses 1 through 28, we see the first Passover. So God speaks to Moses and Aaron. He says, from now on, this month will be the first month of the year for you. New beginning, get a new calendar, new life. God is showing his people, you ain't slaves no more, you're mine. And here's what God tells them to do. Each family must choose a perfect lamb, no defect. You got to keep it until the 14th day, then you got to kill it at twilight. And listen, they got to take the lamb's blood and smear it on the sides and the top of the door frames of the houses where they're going to eat it. They'll eat the lamb that night. They're going to roast over fire with bitter herbs and bread made without yeast. And God says, you got to be fully dressed, wear your sandals, carry your walking stick in your hand, eat the meal with urgency because this is the Lord's Passover. So why the hurry? Because freedom's coming in the middle of the night. And God says, on that night, I will pass through the land of Egypt and strike down every firstborn son and firstborn male animal. I'm going to execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt, for I am the Lord. But here's the good news. He says, but the blood on your doorpost will serve as a sign marking the houses where you're staying. And when I see that blood, I'm going to pass over you. It's the blood that saves, not your good works, not your nationality, not your feelings, but the blood. God commands that every year they're going to have to celebrate the Passover to remember how God spared them. When your children ask, what does this ceremony mean? You will reply, it is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord. Teach the next generation about God's salvation. In verses 29 through 36, we see the death of the firstborns. And just like God said, at midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn sons in the land of Egypt, from Pharaoh's own son to the prisoner in the dungeon, even the firstborn of the livestock. So Egypt wakes up, they're wailing, they're screaming like never before. Pharaoh calls Moses and Aaron. He yells at him, he's like, get out, leave my people, take the rest of the Israelites with you. And the Egyptians are so desperate for them to leave that they give them gold, silver, and clothing, just like God promised. In verses 37 through 51, we see the Exodus beginning. So the Israelites, about 600,000 men plus women and children, they leave Egypt, and God says, this is the night to remember. It is the Lord's Passover. And God sets up his people to keep the Passover forever as a reminder. God also says, no outsiders may eat the Passover unless they're part of the covenant. The lamb's bones must not be broken. They're pointing ahead to Jesus, the perfect lamb. None of his bones were broken on the cross. This wasn't just a physical rescue. It's a spiritual covenant. So what's Exodus 12 teaching us? First, God saves through the blood of a perfect sacrifice. Second, freedom comes when we obey God completely, no half-stepping. Third, we must remember and teach God's mighty works to the next generation. Fourth, judgment is real. Mercy's offered to those covered by the blood. Listen, it ain't enough to know about God's rescue. You got to apply the blood to your life. God didn't tell the Israelites to just believe in the Lamb. He told them to act on it. Faith means you listen and obey. And just like Israel was freed from Pharaoh, Jesus frees us from sin and death by his blood. You can be safe under the blood or judged outside of it. There's no middle ground. So keep reading your Bible and don't be dumb.